All right, dear friends, we're going to check out some amazing footage of third phase of moon. I have not seen it yet. We're going to go through it together. And here we go. Play. Hold on. Let me get it right. And let's see here. And play. There we go. All right, what do we got here? It seems to be like a typical flying saucer, but oh, I like how the details are underneath. I do not think this is a drone. I wish there was like a tree or the side of a house so we could see a reference point that would give us the idea of how big this thing is. The camera's a little shaky. Now, you could see what could be the gravity amplifiers underneath. This is not like the Bob Lazar Sport model, but assuming that this craft is using the same type of technology, i.e., gravity, that is possible what we're seeing underneath. But this is great footage for sure. Again, I'd like to know more about it, where it came from, and that I'll find out when I speak to Blake and Brent soon. Oh, wow. Look at the detail of underneath this. I don't know if you've all seen the UFO chart. There's so many different types of discs, and if you heard my other video about the confession, the two main types of craft that crash are the egg and the bell, hence like the Kecksburg. And they say the crown jewel is the flying saucer, and there's so many different types of them. Uh, and they suggest that all of the flying saucers are manned. So obviously, I'd like to meet the pilots of these things, but that's, uh, you know, wishing well if we can have that happen. But yeah, look at this amazing footage. Clearly, you could tell the person seeing it was very, very excited. That's probably one of the reasons it's so shaky. And I'm sure he zoomed in pretty hard. I'm assuming it's a he. It could be a she, but my guess is it's a he. Yeah. Wow. Fantastic footage. Let's see what else this thing is doing. Now, I noticed how it turned. I'm not saying it flew over the guy and all of a sudden he caught the bottom. I think what happened is the degree of the craft changed from being level to say 30, 45 degrees up, where you're able to see what we're seeing now. Clearly the underneath and the slight dome on top. I would give this an A, maybe an A minus. Again, I do not think this is fake. And let me say this about fake UFOs today. You know, back in the early days, in the 80s, 70s, 60s, even early 90s, yeah, there was an incentive for hoaxers to hoax stuff. But these days, no one makes money from faking stuff. So, okay, what do we got here? We got another disc-shaped craft. Actually looks identical to what we just saw. I wonder why. Let's see. I like the color that I'm seeing here. A lot of people talk about seeing rainbow colors. So you see this purple light. I believe it changed. Okay, there it goes. Now it's orange. And for a quick second, it looked like there was a little bit of a green tinge to it. Um, I wish I could tell you which case, and mind you, as a ufologist for decades and professionally involved for 12 years, I know so many cases, but I can't tell you which case this reminds me of, except the George Adamski in the 50s here in Southern California, specifically Mount Palomar. If you haven't heard about James or George Adamski, definitely look into him. And if you listen to my Timothy Good interview, he will tell you some secrets about James Adamski, where if you thought he was faking things, well, no. Not George, James. George Adamski definitely had what's called an ordnance card, which allowed him access to the White House, to the Vatican. He met with the highest of the high level people, I'm assuming because they wanted to know about his contacts. Again, this looks very, very similar to the first one. Except I'm seeing the color and a little more of a big dome. See, this kind of reminds me of the Apollo capsules. except without the cone. The dome on this is much bigger. That's how we know this is not the same footage from before. Okay, what do we got here now? All right, let's see when we zoom in. Okay, okay. Again, we got a third flying saucer. Is this again the same thing that we just saw? Look at the color. It went from purple to green. And I'm sure it's going to flash a tinge of uh, orange again soon. There we go. There was some yellow and orange right there. Now, a lot of people report when they see these that they see them in rainbow colors, or that they will see one color and then throughout the time of watching it, all the colors of the rainbow will appear. Now, also, mind you this, what you see in person and what you see on camera are two different things. Now, I'm wondering if that light between the dome and the base of the craft, more on the right side, is possibly a window. Is there a pilot inside looking outside? Okay, this is cool. This looks like somebody was looking at a craft above. Now, let me tell you something interesting. According to Bob Lazar, because these things operate with gravity, if you had the sport model right above you, you would not be able to see it. The reason being is the light would bend around it. So you would see above the craft, but not, the craft itself. Now, I think the reason we're seeing this is because this isn't as low as, say, 10, 15 feet on the ground. Obviously, this is zoomed in, and I know Blake and Brent have definitely done their best to actually increase, the visibility of this. I'm sure when it arrived, I wasn't there when this arrived, as I've been with many times over the last decade, when they receive footage and we analyze it together and they edit it for us to see it more, meaning they enhance it, they blow it up and slow it down, etc. I think this is definitely higher than, 10, 20, 30 feet. Again, with no reference point, no trees, no houses, no anything, we don't know. But I do notice, I don't think the guy's changing the zoom. It seems that this craft has gone down and also come up briefly. So very, very interesting. And unlike the other ones, we're not really seeing anything underneath. That doesn't mean anything because there are so many different types of craft, so many different types of species. And again, they could be aliens, they could be interdimensional creatures, they could be fallen angels. These things could be biblical time machines for all we know. And these things could also be living here on Earth at the bottom of the ocean or other places like that we've yet to explore. Uh, Interesting. It's got that red light on the left side. I don't know if that is actually a reflection of something, but I tend to believe, this is just my personal opinion on this particular part, that this is actually emitting from the craft itself. And look, if you notice, the red light is not stable and specific, considering it's not there the whole time. I like this one. So far, I like all of them we've seen. Of course, over the decade, 12 years, 12 plus years I've been with Third Phase of Moon, we've seen some of the most amazing footage out there. But the reason I wanted to cover this one is because this is the most recent. What you're seeing here literally is stuff that was captured within the last week, if not the last 5 days. Okay, let's see this fourth one right now. What do we got here? Someone driving. Okay, in Espanol. Whoa, what is that? There was a famous case called the Beam Ship case. It looked very similar to this. And now, let me explain to everybody again what Bob Lazar said, why, when you see these things, they essentially look like a bright light. You have a very high electric machine that's, powered with electricity. And when you have electricity in a gaseous atmosphere, which is ours, hydrogen and oxygen, which is what we're made of. And what it does is it causes the craft to glow. So It's not that it's doing anything specific. It's just that's the way it's happening. Now, it could also happen during the day, but obviously during the night you could see it far more. Now, also, it looks like there are two headlights. I don't want to say headlights, spotlights. And the one on the right seems to be sort of pointing towards the cameraman. And then it starts to scan around. There's actually three of them, but one of them looks to be like a headlight. There we go. Talk about the colors of the rainbow. There was a little bit of yellow and a little bit of green at the same time. Is this craft noticing that the person filming it is filming the craft and therefore shines its light towards it? That'd be an interesting take for it. Okay, what do we got here? Is this the same one? The shape is hard to discern. Okay. And now I like how we have a house. This is great because this gives us reference points. Everybody out there, when you come across a UFO, don't just take your camera and start filming in the sky. Get it behind, get to a corner of a house. You want any point of reference for shape and size and distance. So right now we could tell that this is, I don't know, maybe a few 100 feet off the ground, from the house. Not that much more. I wouldn't even say it's at 1,000 feet. And mind you, I'm a skydiver, so I'm pretty good at estimating the heights. Now, I'm only basing this on the fact that we can't tell the size of this because we don't know how much further back behind the house this is. This could be at 500 feet. This could be at 800 feet. This literally could be hovering 100 feet off the ground. Now, again, you might have heard me say this before. A theory I've always been saying is when you see a craft, especially at night, chances are it's coming to abduct someone or coming back to drop them off. Most of the time, you're sighting UFOs, they're on their way to or from an abduction. I truly believe that, and a lot of evidence backs this up, especially when you look at the fact that the Gallup and Roper poll 30 plus years ago said 1 in 40 people have been abducted. And actually, a lot of experts believe that case to be closer to 1 in 25 people. Now, that is massive, massive. I wish we could see more about this craft, but we can't. But again, I'd give that one a B. I do think the reason why it's glowing is because of the electricity this thing is emitting and in the atmosphere. Now, this is interesting. I've seen this before the other day. What is causing the ring to emit? We know it's nothing conventional. We know it's not a SpaceX rocket like something I filmed a few weeks ago. But the fact that you have something that's hovering and all of a sudden emits a singular ring as a smoke exhale, exhaust is very, very, very peculiar. Now, if we've mastered some sort of technology that does that, I'd like to know what that is. But these sorts of things have been happening lately. I believe this is the fourth time I've seen something like this happen in the last 2 years, and twice in this week, this being one of them. And yes, I find this ring to be one of the most unexplainable things, and probably why this video was chosen to be posted tonight, because generally Blake and Brent don't choose to put just a light in the sky. But yes, look at that ring. What is it? Is there a reason it's out there? Did this craft emit a ring that the ring itself is doing something else? Or is it some form of exhaust? If that's the case, is it not using gravity? Okay, we got a couple more here. Oh man, we're seeing a bunch of them. That was the look TR3B of the Nimitz encounter. Oh, that's amazing. You know what? As we get ready for the solar eclipse, remember in 1991 in Mexico, people saw tons of UFOs because everyone was focused on the night sky or the day sky, which ended up becoming night. So I want everybody out there, especially of those who are going to be in Mexico where there's going to be a total solar eclipse. Make sure you have your cameras ready and film everything because I do believe UFOs will appear. I think the reason they did so in 91 was not just because the solar eclipse, was because they knew there would be millions upon millions of people looking in the sky while the eclipse was happening. What better way for them to show themselves during that? Okay, let's see what we got next. I believe we're also coming to a wrap up here. We don't know what this Pentagon say is saying because I have it muted. If it's that important, then I will do a follow up to this video. Do not worry. Okay, I guess, well, maybe I should unmute him, but by the time I unmute him, and let's continue to talk about the different type of craft we've seen so far. All of them have been great. I can't say if any been as spectacular as I've covered on Third Phase of Moon lately, especially the double pyramid or the diamond shaped craft. And speaking of this person at the Pentagon, guess what, folks? We're never going to get disclosure. Never going to happen. The government is not going to tell us. Get that through your heads, no matter what you think or what hope you have. I hate to break it to you. That is something they will never admit. Okay, that is fantastic. That craft right there. That actually was one of the greater discs we saw tonight. Um, this is kind of in a loop, I could tell right here. So I'm hoping it gets back to the craft so I can actually talk about them. But that one craft, that one disc, again, you could see the underside of it. You can't see the three gravity amplifiers, but it does not look like the other types of saucers we saw today. So that is very, very interesting to note. And the other one, I don't know if it's a TR3B, the triangular one, because TR3Bs are known to have a light in the middle, generally red, and then one white light on the corner of the three triangles. This is all underneath the craft. So that triangle craft, I'm not sure if it's a terrestrial craft or an extraterrestrial craft. And let me say this about everything we've seen so far. I'm not saying any of this is ET. We don't know at this point if we've learned enough about the crashed and retrieved UFOs where we've made major breakthroughs, and what we're seeing now is actually alien reproduction vehicles, meaning that we reproduce them based on ET technology. But one big argument about some of those is if you are in the military and you've uncovered this great technology, you would not test it over homes. You would test it over Nevada, somewhere where it's empty. Okay, what do we got here? That is outside of a plane. Okay, again, back to the disc. It looks like we're going in a loop, folks. So, with that being said, I'm just going to stop this and end this for today. We'll continue to talk more about UFOs. Listen, folks, if this is your first time here, give me a thumbs up, a subscribe, and also leave a comment and share this video. For those of you returning, I hope you're enjoying this. Of course, I still have interviews I will come back to. I also have a bunch that you guys have never heard that I will upload for you with eye candy, especially with a lot of great footage from Third Phase of Moon and other stuff I've collected over the years, things like Jaime Maussan gave me. And also, oh, check this out. This is Brent's. Actually, he made a comic. It's available for, I have a copy of it. I'm not going to give any more secrets about it form and in digital form there. And let me end this properly on your own, but folks, okay, so let's I think it was a commercial for that. That's why it was just going in a very fast loop as opposed to what we should have been seeing. So, with that being said, friends, I do believe, that we are being invaded. That's the best way to put it. I think we have something major going on in the world right now where everybody can feel it in the air, whether it be World War III or the end of the world or some major shift coming. A lot of abductees are being shown images of the earth blowing up or technology turning on us, kind of like Terminator 2 and Skynet. But what has done is it caused a mass influx of visitation of craft that come from the skies or from other places, as opposed to what we also have. So I think people are seeing both alien reproduction vehicles as well as these non-terrestrial vehicles. I would say it's probably 10% ARVs and 90% non-terrestrial. With that being said, friends, hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll do some more soon.